Okay, so I get the incredible opportunity to interview the Sean Chido, who happens to be not only the CEO of all of my companies, and I mean all of my companies, but he's also a business partner in our salons, as well as several of our schools. And then, of course, this coaching company with Next Level Salon Leadership. And one of the things that we talked about, Sean and I, from the very get-go, was we had the opportunity to watch salons be really, really successful. And we got the opportunity to say, you know what, let's open our own salons. Let's start leading in the trenches at the same time. And so it's so much fun because we're not only in the trenches, we get to feel all of the stress that all of our salon owners are having, right? But also being able to navigate the waters, the rough waters that we've incurred, right, this past couple of years. So Sean, first of all, I'm so glad to be able to interview you finally for this month and to be able to share our heart on this next level salon leadership. But as you've been coaching salon owners and watching them navigate these rough waters the past few years, what is the biggest thing that you're noticing?
When I look at, post, here we go. We went through COVID, which was a game changer for all of us. The thing that keeps going back to is hiring. We're having a hard time keeping our people. We're having a hard time finding our people. What does that look like? And we get it. Like Tina said, we come from both avenues. We come from the school world and we come from the salon world. And what really happened during that is we all know we get people that enter beauty school as kind of like, I know some people that do it. I'm kind of creative. It could be fun. And they're going to go through it and they're going to, pre-COVID, they're going to get a hands-on education. They're going to do what they can. Maybe they're going to work part-time. Maybe it just really wasn't for them. They were just looking for something. And then, pre-COVID, you got those people that were like die hard. They've wanted to do this since they were 2 years old. And that's what it like, and, they excel through the whole program. Well, when we had COVID, it really separated those diehard people from the, maybe this is something I want to dabble in, because a lot of our education that we were giving was virtual. It wasn't hands-on. It was, we're teaching you through Zoom. We're educating you through more theory. And even when we were able to bring them back into the building, it was still social distancing. We weren't, we didn't take guests right away. So you have people that are graduating that have a quote unquote 1,200, 1,500 hour education. But in reality, maybe they only had guests for 300 hours of that. And we all know as stylists, like what type of education is that if more than 3/4 of our education, we didn't actually touch anybody. We didn't actually get in there and find out what like matted hair feels like, So now as salon owners, we're like, oh, we'll hire you. You have your 1,200 hours, you have your 1,500 hours, come join us. And we're realizing like, wow, we don't even know the basics of a shampoo. So we're getting people in the salons that have an education to the best that we were able to give at that time. Like, I don't want to discount the schools because we worked extremely hard to give the very best possible education we could with the circumstances that we had. However, it's very, very different, the ones that came out of school 3 years ago versus the ones that are coming out that had any of that distance education. So with that being said, it goes to what is your onboarding process? What does your training look like? Because unfortunately, the people that we've hired over the past few years, and even the ones that are coming up in the next year, might have had, some distance education. So we're going to have to go back into that square one. Unfortunately, as salon owners and managers and leaders, we have to go very basic and very granular with that education. So it starts with what type of education onboarding plan do you have? Is it in writing? Do you know like your steps? This is how we do a consultation. This is how we greet. This is what a shampoo looks like. This is because we have to go back to those very, very, very basic steps in order for us to continue to maintain our level of standards with the ones that we're hiring. You also have the schools. We haven't been able to have guest artists. We haven't been able to have salon owners in the schools. Come see your local school. Come see us. Come hang out. Come be on the clinic floor. Come be a guest speaker, because what a lot of the students are seeing is salon suites. They kind of had a boom. It's no secret. They, social media, unfortunately, the microwave influencer, so to say, like they instantly are famous, but they don't see that work. So the mentality is they've kind of been disconnected because we haven't seen salons really in here. So they're looking to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, what's that? And a lot of times it's one-on-one, it's that person. So that's their mentality, that they can be successful like that. So we as salon owners that have salon teams need to get back in and show them what a salon environment looks like, because it has changed. We had to change and adapt.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that so much, Sean, because I think we kind of proved to the point that, you cannot train yourself on YouTube and be a hairdresser. And we also proved the point that you really need to go to a cosmetology school and get a license, because I know a lot of states are trying to push for deregulating hairdressers. So I think we pretty much proved our point. We cannot deregulate hairdressers, and they need a license, and they need to go through a cosmetology school, minimum, in my opinion, 1,200 hours. I prefer 1,500 hours because I see the difference. We see the difference between Florida and Michigan through that process. We're in the trenches. We get to see the type of graduates that we have. And so I love where you're going with this, Sean, because on the platforms that we're on, many, many different salon owner platforms, all we hear is, I can't find people. What's going on out there? Like, where are the people? But interesting enough, something that you and I have noticed is the big salon owners that are doing incredibly well. They're in our schools every other week, not only, recruiting, teaching mini classes, they bring in their team, their guest speakers. They're always in our schools, and they've created a lot of relationships with our learning leaders, our education leaders, our future professionals. They bring in gifts. They're always there. Can you talk about that for a moment? Because that's something we coach our salon owners to do, and we kind of help them navigate that process and come up with some fun ideas.
I think it's so important to build that relationship, because we've all been in that 911 crisis where we need 3 people. So what do? You call up your local cosmetology school and said, send me your best 3 people. I need help. Well, unfortunately, our best 3 people have been recruited when they were just starting out because of those salon owners that are here. Like, it's, we're not able to say, like, these are our top 3. You should go to the salon, because they don't know who you are. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know your culture. And that is what is attracting people to salons right now. It 100% is, what is that vibe? What does that feel? What's the vision of the salon? That's what they want to hear. That's what they want to know. So the salon owners that, aren't facing this hiring pandemic, so to say, are the ones that are in our schools. We just had a very prominent salon owner in Florida in our school, and he just was hanging on the clinic floor. He brought some of his team. They're just walking around talking. They bring goodies, and just like, hey, what are your goals? Just, I'm from this salon, and I just, wanted to introduce myself, and if there's anything I can do for you. They're building that connection and building that reputation way better than we could ever do promoting them ourselves. Like, we could say, this is a great salon. You're going to love it. But when the face of the salon is in here with his team, going up to everybody, oh, look what you're doing on that cut. Look at this, like, engaging them with what they're doing. They know those salons. Like, if we were to take this computer right now and grab 4 students that are just hanging out on the clinic floor and say, tell me the top 4 salons in this area, they're going to say the ones that are most present within this school, because they know them. And when you build a reputation within your local cosmetology school and you're a frequent salon, I will tell you, and Tina will stand behind this, we've not allowed salons in here because they don't represent what's good for this industry. We've stopped that. So as a school, we're allowing you a platform to speak to the future generation of this industry. We're very protective of that, and our future professionals know that. And by us being protective, we're almost endorsing you, and now we're giving you that platform of safety to talk to the students and show them what you're about and tell them what you're about. Like, that is the number one thing when salon owners talk about hiring, is like, have you been in your local cosmetology school? No, I didn't know. Yeah, come hang out. And there's not a cosmetology school out there that would tell you, no, we don't want salons in there. Like, by all means, come hang out.
Yeah, we love the support. We love how they add value because it's kind of like you don't really listen to your mom, but you listen to your aunts and uncles when they're giving you advice. And so we think of our salon owners as our aunts and uncles. And so, you know, a lot of times, Sean, I notice with the salon owners that we coach, and we have a new course coming up starting March 1st. It's a 6-month business and leadership course that we do. It's 1 hour a month as a group. So all of the salon owners jump on and give best ideas. We share, you know, different lessons, different things to fix different areas of your business. And we have 5 strategies that we really focus on in that 6 months. And what you're talking about is first and foremost, the first strategy, which is foundation. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what we discuss with a lot of the salon owners for the first month? Because sometimes, or most of the time, the salon owners that we're discussing foundation, they haven't even started on this, and they've been in business for many, many, many years, some of them, and then some, of course, are just starting. And so kind of building that. What are some of the things that we come up against that they need to fix right away?
When we think of foundation, you know, that's where you start. That is, how solid is that? Because that's what everything else is going to be built on. And, you know, we just talked about hiring and, you know, talking about culture and what your vision is and your mission. And some of our listeners are probably like, well, we don't have any of that, but we've been in business for 20 years. And we find that a lot when we ask the question of like, what's your mission? What's your vision? Why did you start your salon? I just started it. Okay, so what's keeping it going? What is going to attract people to that? And we have a ton of exercises that really break down like your why. What is your why for opening the salon? What is your passion behind it? Because your why and your passion is what's going to attract your team. You're going to attract your vibe. So the vibe of your tribe is attracted by you. And what are you putting out there? And it starts with, why did you start this? What is your mission? What is your vision? What are your values? That's a huge one that we talk about. Like, what is your salon value? Do you have those core values that you don't waver from? Like, this is who you are as a salon. Or is it, I need a body to fill the chair? And we're just, maybe you were a salon that was able to just kind of, you've just been humming along for the past 10, 15 years. Like you've made it. You're behind the chair. You have a team. You guys really aren't engaged, but you come in, you do your thing. And then COVID hit. And now what? Half your people left for safety reasons. They didn't feel like they want to be behind the chair anymore. Wasn't for them. So now how are you attracting that new generation? What are you telling them? How are you selling them? Is that foundation there, which is what we also talked about in hiring. Unfortunately, nowadays, you have to have a really strong onboarding education, which is part of that foundation. Like, what does that look like? What does your employee handbook look like? What are your standards? What are the steps of somebody from that first phone call or that first resume that they turn in? Like, I'm interested to work for you. What are steps A, B, C, and D? Like for us, something that's been super successful is we have multiple shadow days. Like, absolutely, we're gonna have you spend time with all of our stylists. We want to get that vibe. We want to make sure that you're a right fit for us, and not just a right fit for us, but we're a right fit for you. Just because you're a right fit for us, maybe we're too much for you. Maybe that's just not going to be your vibe, and that's okay. But you can't just go off of you're perfect, you can stand behind the chair. Like that's not what, you know, this industry is about. Yes, there's places you can go and stand behind. If that's what you choose to do, by all means, that is 100% up to you. But as a salon owner or salon leader, what does your salon represent?
Yeah, it's so good, Sean. And you know, I know we've had many salon owners that are suite owners or chair renters, and they come to us and say, hey, take me through this course because I want to actually build a business and not a solopreneurship. And they've come to realize I've been doing this for so long and realize I have nothing to show for it because I didn't start out. I have a cracked foundation. And so really setting up an integral business plan and really sitting down with them and going through all that process of saying, okay, let's have a written system. And I love what you're saying, Sean, about the onboarding, because that's everything. And I think that's the area that everyone needs to fix, especially right now. And I think we kind of like got caught all of us as saying, you know what, we really didn't have a good onboarding process. We were kind of relying on our cosmetology schools to do that. And it really, really caused a lot of challenges across the nation, of course, as we're starting to really see that unravel. And then people are leaving the industry right away because they're really disenchanted with the leadership. So let's talk about that because, again, you got to have a strong leader to be able to attract a great team or leadership team as well, as we talk about. So the next month we jump into fixing your leadership. What are some of the things that you're seeing with salon owners that all across the nation, some that we're coaching, and then of course on the platforms that we're involved with as well?
I think the number one thing about leadership is that people don't quit companies, they quit the leader. And we have to remember that. So if you have people that are leaving your salon, we need to point the finger back at us. Like, what is it that we're not doing? What did they need? What could we have added more value? And when we think about leadership, what the transition that we focus on a lot of the times is that we have salon owners who've been behind the chair since they opened their salon. And their business is successful, but is it running successfully because they're behind the chair? Right. We've transitioned with, our people that sign up is let's slowly pull you out of that. Let's reduce your days behind the chair. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we talk you through that. How can I afford that? We're going to show you how you can afford that through putting yourself and paying yourself first and putting away for profit. Like, what does that want to be? We talk about that. During our course, we'll look at your P&L. We'll explain like, hey, we can cut costs here. We can do this. Like, it is possible to remove you from behind the chair. Give yourself a salary. That is possible, and still continue on the way. And that's what happens is a lot of times we look at, if we want to stay behind the chair as a salon owner, we're going to stay behind the chair, but we need a salon manager then. Well, that number one stylist you have in your salon, guess what? We're going to make them the manager. That is the wrong decision 9 times out of 10. We get in a situation where we take the highest producer and we think you're going to lead this team great. And we put them in the management role and it doesn't go well. And then you're frustrated with them. They're frustrated. They don't like this industry anymore. We've created all this mess because it wasn't their strength zone. And we talk a lot about strength zones. Tina and I are both DISC certified. So, we talk about personalities and we talk about how to complement them and what strengths are and what weaknesses are. And that's something else that we're offering this coming up March in our program, is that we will give you a DISC coaching for free. Grab one of your right-hand people and we will talk you guys through for an hour and really dive into your DISC and, show you where those strengths are and how you can surround yourself with the right people and really lean into it.
So true. And, it goes back to the very beginning. People want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And so when you attract a big team like that, now all of a sudden you're going to have high level players that are going to come into your team and they're going to stay in the business because you've got an incredible vision. You've got a great platform. You have great leadership. People want to be around great leaders. Like you said in the beginning, people don't quit companies, they quit leaders. And that's so huge. And so we focus a lot on leadership, tools, different things that they can utilize to grow their leadership, which is a never ending thing because leadership is a process. It's not an event. You're not going to be a leader in a month. And so we kind of help our leaders to be able to go through that. And then the next month we focus on, fixing your communication, which is huge, right? So we always talk about, if you want to be a great communicator and a great leader, you have to do 3 things: be clear, be clear, be clear, be clear. 3 things: be clear. and so talk about that, Sean. What are you noticing with the salon owners and with your teams, areas that need to be improved?
When it comes to communication, we're going to tie this back into foundation, because the number one thing that you should communicate is your mission and your values. You just can't cast that vision enough times. So are you communicating the right things? I think that's where it starts. A lot of times we think we communicate, but it's just chatter. Like, what is the value behind what you're communicating? We live in 160 character word, like everything's like, you got to be short. Like, so in that space that you have to communicate, are you utilizing the most meaningful communication technique? Are you getting your message across? And is it repeated? You should be able to ask your team what that vision is. What's your mission? What are the values? Where are we going? What is that? What does your salon stand for? And that's a challenge that we put out there is ask your team, what does a salon stand for? They should be able to recite that. If they have a very different left field idea than what you as the salon owner have that vision for, that's where we need to go back to. And we need to, figure out why it is that it's not the same. And that goes the same way as communicating that with your guests. If you were to ask your guests, what does a salon stand for? What are they going to say? Is it going to line up with what you want the salon's vision, mission, and values to be? What your team wants? Like, if you can get your guests on board, that have your team on board, that's awesome, because then you have the power to push that out into the community of what your salon stems from. And that starts from communicating your mission, values, and basically your foundation of your salon. Why did you start it? And communication is such a valuable key. Are you talking goals with your team? Are you having one-on-ones? Are you having sit-downs? Do you know what they want? Do you know where they see themselves? Like, how does that work? And that starts with that connection and that one-on-one. We call them 7-minute target meetings, where we touch base with our salon leaders for briefly every week. What's that look like? What's your numbers? How are you doing? How can we support you? Here's your openings. What does that look like? But we also have monthly one-on-ones that we don't even talk about numbers. We talk solely on them as people. And that's when the difference truly happens. That's when the shift, that's when the change happens. When we first started out, like Tina said, we're in the trenches. So we have lots of discoveries. We take the course with you every year. We're learning stuff. But in the beginning, we did them together. We're going to talk all this great stuff about you and your person and your family and your family goals. And then we're going to end with, well, your numbers suck. Like we were just contradicting ourselves. Like we care so much about them. And then we always ended with like, all right, well, you're missing your service goal. You're missing this. So when we separated them and had clear communication about what was the expectations, like, here you go. Here's your personal that we're going to talk about. But every week we're going to chat about your numbers. And what we've seen is that everybody's numbers have increased. Mm-hmm. And that's because we're focused very little on them. But because it was repeated, and repetition is the mother of all skills, it went from, in the beginning, the team was like, here we go, talking about numbers, to now they're excited to bring the numbers to us. Like, the calls are super short. Like, it's not us pulling the answers out of them. They come ready to share. They're so excited. And if they miss their service goal, or they know what they're going to do this week to make that up. And that's because we've separated that, but we have that constant, clear communication on a weekly basis, talking about their numbers.
So true, Sean. And I love that so much. I love when you said, are you communicating the right things? And it just goes back to that, having a system for communication and changing it up often and coming up with new, fresh ideas to be able to be super, super curious as an owner. And I know many of the salon owners that we're coaching, we're trying to get them out of the tell mode into more of a coaching mode as a leader. And so communicating in that aspect has really shifted our salons and helped them to go from being in the red to being in the black and wanting to start to scale their companies now. And so that's what I absolutely love. And then of course, the next month, then we talk about fixing your attitude and your mindset. And I know this is right up your alley, Sean, because I know we study this quite a bit, and we are always constantly just ourselves of saying, hey, how are we going to fix our mindset today and stay in a possibility mindset at all times? Because as a business owner, you've got to be in that mode, because if you go negative Nancy, all of a sudden, that's what you're going to attract into your company. So what are you seeing as far as what needs to be fixed when it comes to mindset and attitude?
I would say that as leaders, we sometimes tend to not focus on our own mindset. We focus and we're quick to point the finger, we're quick to point blame. We're quick to, hold everybody to a different standard than we hold ourselves. And it really starts with, where are you at? Are you centered? What does your morning routine look like? Like, what are you doing for yourself before you even get to the salon to make sure that you're in the right headspace? Because if you're not in the right headspace, guess what? As a leader, you set the tone and everything trickles down. So if you come in frazzled and running late and you've had a rough morning, all of that is going to go out to your team. Or did you wake up? Did you have your coffee, have your tea? Did you meditate? Did you listen to a podcast? Whatever it takes for you in the morning to set that straight, that's where it all starts. And do you have that can-do attitude? Because we get thrown a lot of different things all day as leaders and business owners. There's always going to be wrenches thrown in the program. It just is what it is. Something new is always going to come that's going to try to steer you out of the way. But when your why is so strong that nothing can stop it, you're gonna be okay. But it starts with that attitude. Do you have that can-do attitude that no matter what comes, you're gonna overcome that, because that's the attitude that you have?
So perfectly said. And that's so huge, because we like to talk about doing the power hour in the morning to prepare yourself before you actually step foot in the door, so that you're not running around like a crazy person, because they pick up on that. And
Yes.
so how do we lead? By example, by example, by example. And that's so true, Sean. People will pick up on that mindset. And then, of course, our last month, we circle back around to fixing your hiring. And it's amazing. Once you fix your foundation, you fix your leadership, communication, you fix your attitude and your mindset, the hiring automatically seems to be fixed right away. And in the last month that we're together in the group setting, then of course, once a month as well, we do a one-on-one at the convenience of the salon owner, or bringing on the team leader with them, which we love to be able to do to help set up their leader for success, because you can't do life alone. You can't do business alone, and people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So we help these salon owners to build their salon leadership team, which, Sean, I think has been so huge for us as we've been navigating this course for quite a few years. I'm excited to start this new one. There are still a few openings. We can bring on some salons to be able to be a part of this. So we definitely want to interview you, see if you're the right fit for us. We only coach W-2 employee salon owners so that you can be an actual business owner, and we'll take you through different processes, different models that you can use that fit well for you in your state, in your city where you're at, to be able to set you up for success, whether you want to start, maintain, or scale your business. And so, Sean, as we end this out, what last piece of advice do you want to give all the salon owners that are listening today?
First, if you're interested, jump on over to nextlevelsalonleadership.com, click on courses. You will see the 5 strategies of a healthy business. Click on that and you can go ahead and get registered, and we will reach out to you. Again, like Tina said, we offer one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching. We have an active Facebook page. We're always available to you, and don't just think that it's like, oh, 6 months. We're still in contact with you after the 6 months. We just really want to, jumpstart it. We're so passionate about being able to, impact the future of this amazing industry. So jump on over there if you're interested. More details is out there. Feel free to reach out to Tina, reach out to myself. Check out our YouTube. Obviously, you're either watching this video currently on YouTube or you're listening to it on a podcast, but Next Level Salon Leadership. We have all of our videos, all of our hour-long podcasts are there on YouTube. Obviously, our podcast is a little bit shorter, but you can check out there. And I think, where we started this conversation today was about hiring. And I think the number one thing that you guys can do at this moment as salon owners and leaders is get in your cosmetology schools, find your local one, build that relationship, be present, give back, meaning bring education in. Come spend a morning and teach a class, teach a business class, teach a haircut class, teach a color class, give back to this amazing industry. I truly just think that we're very blessed to be a part of this. We're blessed that you guys are listening to this, because guess what? By you listening to this, maybe you didn't necessarily need this message, but somebody who does. send this to them. We are all about leadership. We are all about salon development. So again, thank you guys for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Sean.